All right, ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely, let's do it.
Today, we're heading back to Westeros, into the thick of A Clash of Kings.
Ooh, this is where things get really interesting.
Right. The stakes are higher, the betrayals cut deeper.
And those power struggles we talked about, they're in full swing.
Exactly. You guys sent in some awesome excerpts, so let's jump right in. We're focusing on shifting loyalties, those messy realities of war.
And how Martin masterfully peels back the layers of these characters.
Exactly. So, to kick things off, we got to talk about Theon Greyjoy and Jon Snow. Two guys grappling with identity, belonging. It makes you think about how much family shapes our choices, even in a world as brutal as Westeros.
Well, with Theon, you see this really tragic arc, don't you?
Totally. He returns to the Iron Islands after years away, raised as a Stark ward.
And he's so desperate to prove himself to Balon, his father.
That he makes some, well, let's just say questionable choices.
The capture of Winterfell? That's huge, not just strategically, but for Theon personally. It's like he's rejecting the family that raised him.
And it throws the North into chaos. Martin has this way of yanking the rug out from under you just when you think there's a sliver of stability.
Absolutely. And then there's Jon, struggling with his Stark blood while pledging loyalty to the Night's Watch. Talk about being torn.
It's like he's constantly trying to prove himself, but never feeling like he truly belongs, and then, boom, he's thrust beyond the wall.
That's where things get really real for him. The death of Qhorin Halfhand. It forces Jon to confront some harsh truths about duty and survival. What would you do if your orders meant betraying someone you respected?
Heavy stuff. And speaking of heavy, let's talk about Cersei Lannister, a queen of ruthless ambition, right?
She's a force of nature, that one. But her desire to rule, it consumes her, manipulating everyone, even her own son, Joffrey.
And poor Sansa, the way Cersei treats her, it's chilling. Shows how far she'll go to hold on to power.
And yet, she's blind to certain things. Like her unwavering trust in Jaime. It backfires spectacularly, proving that true power takes more than just ruthlessness. You need strategy, you need foresight.
Which brings us to Tyrion. Now, he understands how to play the game, right? He navigates King's Landing with this sharp wit, this incredible understanding of people's motivations.
Oh, he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Don't let the humor and, well, let's say his extracurricular activities fool you. Tyrion's mind is his weapon.
You see it when he confronts Cersei, when he outsmarts those scheming council members. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty, but you get the sense he's trying to do what he thinks is best.
Which brings us to a really interesting question. In a world as brutal as Westeros, can you be both powerful and moral? It's something that Catelyn Stark wrestles with constantly.
She's driven by a mother's love, willing to do whatever it takes to get her daughters back. But that encounter with Renly Baratheon, it shows that even under the guise of peace, there's always danger lurking.
That contrast, Renly's court is all feasts and tournaments, but beneath it all, that same hunger for power simmers.
And Catelyn sees right through it. But her attempt to negotiate peace, it ends tragically, proving that even truce banners don't offer true protection.
That attack on her party, the death of Sir Cleo's Frey, brutal. Martin doesn't let anyone off easy, does he?
Nope. And it really drives home the point that in this world, even those who seem untouchable, they're vulnerable. But it's not just about physical safety, is it? We also got to talk about faith. It plays such a huge role in this world, for better or worse.
Oh, absolutely. Look at Stannis Baratheon. He's convinced he's the rightful heir, and he's willing to go to some pretty extreme lengths to claim what he believes is his.
And that's where Melisandre comes in, right? This red priestess with her fiery pronouncements.
She's a fascinating character, isn't she? Wielding power through magic, through prophecy, and through her influence on Stannis.
It's like she's this force of nature. And then you have Davos, his voice of reason practically drowning in a sea of flames. Pragmatism versus blind faith, classic conflict.
And such a powerful one. Davos, with his grounded faith, he can see the darkness growing in Stannis. It makes you wonder, when does faith become dangerous? When does it cross the line?
It's a question a lot of characters grapple with. I mean, think about Bran. Lost in his prophetic dreams, these visions of three-eyed crows and wolves. It's like he's tapping into something ancient, but also incredibly isolating.
It reminds us that there are forces at play in Westeros, forces beyond human comprehension. And those forces, they can be terrifying. We see hints of that elsewhere, too, like with Arya's encounter with Jaqen H'ghar.
Oh, yeah, that's one I wanted to dig into. This assassin who seems to defy the laws of life and death. What's his deal?
Jaqen. He's one of the biggest mysteries in the series. His powers, his motives, shrouded. But his encounter with Arya, it exposes her to a different level of power, something beyond swords and battles for the Iron Throne.
It's like she's getting a glimpse behind the curtain into a world where magic is real, and it's dangerous. Speaking of dangerous, we can't forget about Daenerys, all the way over in Korth, the House of the Undying. Talk about a trip.
Her journey through that place, it's like a fever dream, full of cryptic visions and prophecies. It's disorienting, even for us as readers. But it underscores this idea. Destiny is powerful, and Daenerys, even far away, she's got a role to play in the fate of Westeros.
It's like Martin is weaving this massive tapestry, right? Power, prophecy, magic, and
Yeah.
each character, each storyline, it's all connected. But you know what I find really interesting, even amidst all the battles and betrayals and, well, shadow babies? It's the small moments, the human moments that really get me.
Absolutely. Martin never lets us forget that these are people with hopes and fears and flaws caught in the middle of this epic struggle.
Exactly, like Sansa. The way she endures Joffrey's cruelty, it breaks your heart. But it's also incredibly inspiring. She shows us that even in the darkest moments, resilience is possible.
Her story is a testament to the strength it takes just to survive in a world like that. And then there's Arya, responding to trauma in a completely different way. She has to grow up fast, become tough, resourceful, just to stay alive.
Harrenhal is brutal for her. She sees horrific things, loses people, but she never gives up.
It's fascinating to see her evolve, to see that inner steel develop. She's not going to be a victim. She wants agency, even if it means embracing the darkness.
Makes you wonder, is that the true cost of survival in Westeros? Do you have to sacrifice a part of yourself to navigate a world like that?
It's a question that weighs on a lot of characters, even those in positions of power. Parian, for example.
Oh, yeah. He's constantly walking this tightrope between his better nature and, well, the ruthlessness it takes to survive in King's Landing.
He's intelligent, sure, but it's his capacity for compassion, even when he has to make those tough, morally ambiguous choices, that makes him so compelling.
He's always trying to find the least terrible option, right? But that's got to take a toll.
Absolutely. It highlights the burden of leadership, especially in a kingdom as fractured as Westeros. Tyrion shows us that even with the best intentions, there are going to be compromises. And those compromises have consequences.
It makes you question the nature of power, doesn't it? Is it inherently corrupting, or does it just magnify the darkness that's already there?
That is the question, isn't it? And it's not just the rulers either. Look at Davos. He's loyal to Stannis, but he's deeply troubled by the path Stannis is taking.
A good man, caught in a bad situation.
It's a reminder that even those with strong morals, they can be tested. And sometimes, witnessing the true cost of power, it can shake you to your core.
So we've got these characters all wrestling with huge questions: faith, pragmatism, the seductive nature of power.
And caught in the middle of it all are characters like Jon, Sansa, Arya,
Yeah.
just trying to survive, trying to forge their own paths in a world where the lines between right and wrong, they get blurry.
It's a lot, right? But that's what makes A Clash of Kings so captivating. It's political intrigue, personal journeys, and these big universal questions about power, about faith, about what it means to be human.
Martin has this incredible ability to weave it all together seamlessly. He keeps you guessing, constantly questioning what's going to happen next.
And just when you think you've got it figured out, bam, he throws a curveball.
Exactly. But those twists, they always feel earned. They make sense in the context of the story, in the context of these characters' lives.
It's like he's holding up a mirror, right? Reflecting the complexities of our own world back at us. The ambition, the love, the betrayal, the resilience of the human spirit.
And the capacity for both darkness and light that exists within us all.
It's like he's got us right where he wants us, right? Completely hooked. But let's go back to those hints of magic, those ancient forces at play. They really start to come into focus in this book.
Absolutely. The line between what's real and what's, well, magical gets blurry. And those forces, they have a huge impact on these characters.
Totally. Like Daenerys, we were talking about the House of the Undying. What a crazy experience. What do you make of those visions she has?
It's like stepping into a surreal dream full of symbolism. And those visions, they're not just random. They give us these glimpses into Daenerys' future, the challenges she's going to face. Remember that image of the Iron Throne covered in shadows?
Oh, yeah. So ominous. It's like Martin is giving us a peek at fate, but he's not giving us all the answers. So it makes you wonder, right? Are prophecies set in stone, or do people have a choice?
Free will versus destiny. That's a huge theme in this series. And it's not just Daenerys. Look at Stannis. He's clinging to Melisandre's prophecies, totally convinced he's meant to rule.
Right. But is it really destiny? Or just
Right.
delusion, fueled by magic.
Exactly. And what's interesting is you have Stannis so rigid in his beliefs, and then you have Davos trying to ground him, trying to guide him toward a more reasonable approach.
It's like they represent two sides of the same coin, right? Faith and pragmatism. And
Yeah.
that tension between them, it's electric.
It really is.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole Shadow Baby situation.
Mhm.
Talk about dark magic. It's both fascinating and terrifying to see how far Stannis is willing to go.
All because he thinks he's the chosen one. It really makes you think about the nature of faith and the
Mm.
price of power.
Right. It's a reminder that even the most devout can be misguided. And the consequences of that, they can be devastating. But, even with all the darkness in Martin's world, there's also this persistent hope, this
Yeah.
resilience that shines through.
Totally. Like, even when it seems like all hope is lost, you've got Sansa enduring Joffrey with this quiet strength. You've got Arya forging her own path. Bran venturing into the unknown.
They're all facing impossible odds. But they never give up. And that's powerful. It's a reminder that the human spirit, it's capable of enduring incredible things.
And those small acts of courage, of kindness, they matter.
They really do. I think that's one of the reasons that A Clash in Kings stays with you. It's more than just a story about power. It's about survival, about love, and about that unbreakable strength of the human spirit.
Well said. So as we wrap up our deep dive here, what are the key things you want our listeners to take away from A Clash of Kings? What will help them see this story, these characters, in a new light?
Well, first and foremost, question everything. Don't just take things at face value. Look for those hidden agendas, the subtle manipulations, the unexpected alliances. This is a world where appearances can be deceiving.
It's like a giant game of chess, where everyone's trying to outsmart everyone else.
Exactly. Which brings me to my second point. Power is a double-edged sword. It's seductive, intoxicating, and ultimately, dangerous. We see how ambition can twist even the best intentions. And that pursuit of power, it often comes at a steep price.
It's not all doom and gloom, though, right? Even in the darkest moments, there's room for compassion, for courage, for those unexpected acts of kindness, like you said.
You got it. Don't forget about those smaller moments, the ones that remind us why we connect with these characters. The humor, the love, the selflessness, those are the glimmers of light that make the darkness bearable.
And that's what makes A Clash of Kings such an amazing read. It's a story that challenges us to confront those complexities of being human, to wrestle with difficult questions, and to find beauty and meaning in the most unexpected places.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a story that stays with you. It makes you think, makes you talk about it long after you finished reading.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's giving you a fresh perspective on A Clash of Kings. Maybe even spark some new theories. Keep exploring, keep those conversations going. And remember, in the Game of Thrones, nothing is certain and anything is possible.